Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secret Tapes. The Secret Tapes, we're going to be talking about things that may be a little bit off the grid. We're going to be talking about things that, it may have been trending in the past. It may not be so recent, but I feel like this is kind of a timeless topic for this one. We're going to talk about the um, the movie Bad Hair that came out in 2020. Now, as I'm recording this, there was an article that came out not long ago stating that a lot of the hair extension products for women of color have lead in it and other poisons that can cause us harm, that can make us sick. I don't know if they looked into or checked the hair for the other, races, namely Caucasian, but they found this out about the hair that is distributed for people of color. So I thought, this is a great time for me to check in with that movie Bad Hair. I didn't do it right away. I've been wanting to look at it, and my niece has Hulu, so I was finally able to check into it, and I loved the movie. It was a lot of fun. It was creepy. It was just a little gore. It was basically my cup of tea when it comes to films. It has the 80s theme. I'm an 80s baby. I love the 80s. So I'm not gonna get totally into the movie, but we can see some connections to real life. The way that women are treated when it comes to their hair, especially women of color, the straightening process and all of that. Acceptable hair. I know they had a law, I believe, where in some states that you couldn't wear braids or other type of African American hairstyles, which is completely crazy and rubbish. I've heard they've done away with some of them. I don't know if they've done away with all of them. Let me know, guys. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com or drop something in the comments again at cbiztv@yahoo.com. So the young lady in the movie, the main star, she was a young girl. She was adopted. There were certain expectations for her here. Now, it looks like she was adopted by another relative, I believe her uncle. And the young lady, I guess, was her cousin, was kind of making fun of her. And in the beginning, she wasn't even really mean and malicious about it, but she was like, well, you're going to have to, now that you're staying with us, you're going to have to change your hair up. It's about time you've done this. So she's helping her perm her hair. Now, her cousin is a somewhat older than her, and she's supposed to be helping her out. She forgot about the timing. So when she starts to wash it out, finally, the young lady's, it's like, my hair is burning, my head is burning. All of you that had perms, you know what I'm talking about. So as she's washing it out, a big clump of hair comes out. You hear a sizzling sound. It seems very horrible. So this is one of her early memories of working with her hair, straightening her hair. So that was traumatizing right there. So then later in the film, she's a young adult at this time, trying to make her way in life. She wants to be a VJ, which is a video DJ, something that was coming up pretty hot in MTV time. And again, this movie's supposed to take place in 1989. So that's fitting. So she, I guess she was so badly traumatized. Her hair is very natural and short. And especially in the late 80s, people were probably making fun of that hair. I'm sorry, that's just the reality of what probably was. Her hair was just natural. I think she would wear tie a scarf around the front or something, but basically that was her hair. She had no qualms about it. She, to me, she seemed to be a pretty confident young lady, but she did have some insecurities. Who doesn't? So she's trying to get these VJ jobs, and people are saying, well, she's just not a good fit, without saying directly it's your hair, or, you just don't have the look. So she's not getting it. She's like, I'm very versatile. I can do this, this, and this, what you do at interviews. Basically say, you're the person for the job. She's not really getting where the rejection is coming from. So she's been working, kind of doing some volunteer work, and I think she finally gets hired into this company where they're like their own little MTV. It's a lot of people of color working there, but there is a Caucasian boss that runs everything, Williams. She's underneath the main boss, and she's kind of like running the head of the company. She's taking another lady's place. She's more fair skinned, and she has the hair. She has that straight looking hair that, society says this is what you should look like. So one of I think a couple young ladies there have changed their hair up, and they refer the young lady. They're like, well, if you change your hair, you'll have like a lot more opportunities. And they give her a referral to this place to get a weave. I feel like the whole weave game has changed since the late 80s up to now. It's a little bit different, but still similarities. So she gets this weave, and it's a spiritual struggle to go get her hair done. And have you guys all felt that struggle to get your hair done though? Really, I was like, I'm connecting with this. Like when I was a kid and my mom would do my hair and the tangles and all of that has to be pulled out, brushed and combed out. It was a painful process. And even as a grown woman, we get our hair done. The lengthy process, especially if you get it straightened, each little piece has to be parted and straightened, and tedious and how long that takes. And then now we have young ladies doing the Tizillion braids and other processes which takes hours on end. Beauty is pain, and even women of all races have heard this. Beauty is pain. It takes a lot of work for certain things to be done for a woman, but for a black woman's hair, it's kind of universal that it's gonna take a lot to get it to look a certain type of way. Especially, the traditional way that society expects our hair to look and says is beautiful, which is straight. To me, it's almost like the lady that's doing her hair. Laverne Cox plays that character. Those that know, Laverne Cox is a transgender woman that's played many different roles. Is the person doing her hair and is like sewing it in. It looks like it's being engrafted into her scalp. It's painful. She's kind of crying, Most of the time, ladies, we don't be crying at the beauty shop. We try to hold that, but it was like some type of crazy surgery or something. To me, that part I think was really deep. It was like she was a voodoo priestess doing a spell and doing some magic on her that was gonna make her black girl magic and just make all her dreams come true from that point on. Meanwhile, they did talk about a book, I think it's called The Moss Girl or something. And I don't know if this book takes real roots from real folk tales, black folk tales, but email me again if you guys know the movie and you guys can answer some questions for me. I'd love that. Email me or drop something in the comments. But it's like the moss head girl, it has similarities to what we're gonna see as we continue to watch the movie. Kind of just relaying and stating the importance of hair, the vitality of hair. I know in the Bible, the hair is the woman's crown. It does have a large sense of importance in society. So all the ladies in this office are, preferring to get their hair done. And she now, after she's got hers done, she keeps patting her head. We know the hair be itching, the head be itching. So you know how they do, we do the head pats. We used to. Sometimes we still do. Again, the hair game has changed a bit since then. So she's patting the hair. It's sometimes sore and it's giving her some pain, but she's going about. She's seeing some changes. She's seeing, the boss, the lady, Denise Williams, that's running the studio at this point, is like now seeing her She kind of swiped one of her ideas, which is not right, but she also hires her, I think, as an assistant. So now she's at least getting paid for what she's been doing, volunteering this whole time. Um, the guy she used to deal with finally sees her, and he actually dropped her to get with the head boss lady. So I feel like he's a guy that's like trying to sleep his way to the top. But when she comes through with her new hair, he's like, hey, mommy. He's like trying to holler at her as if he doesn't even know who she is. That was kind of wild. But basically, in this movie, the hair is somehow it's alive, and it feeds on her enemy's blood. Like one of her, landlord she owed some money to, and he was a Caucasian man. He was a white guy, and he was a jerk. He was like one of those landlords, I forgot what they call them, that are just horrible. They have a name for landlords that are just kind of messed up and just a horrible landlords. He's one of those. So I guess he sees her with her new hair now, and he just comes into her apartment randomly and is like, you owe me this money. And she's like, well, I just finished paying you the rest of the money since the rent had recently went up. So he aggresses on her, and it becomes a point where it looks like she's gonna need 911. So her hair just does the work for her and basically takes the guy down. I believe she may have used a weapon of some sort to protect herself, but whatever the case, the hair finished the job and got rid of this guy and ends up throwing him out the window. I think he falls into the dumpster nearby. So I'm telling a little bit of the story, guys. Spoilers here, and I should put this on the description so you'll know there's some spoilers. But by the end of the movie, she gets free of this hair somehow, and because the hair kind of won't let you get rid of it. I think it's like a main boss person that has to be settled or taken down in order for the hair to succumb. You would have to watch to see exactly everything that happened, but by the end she gets free of it. I think she has a head scarf on, no longer has this hair, and it kind of shows at the end. I think they show something at the beginning as well, some of the hair being packaged out in the country as if this moss was real, like some type of ritualistic moss that has the ability to feed off of things and people. So it's a white guy that appears to be the same guy that was the head boss of that company she worked for, packaging this, and it's a lot of people packaging it, putting it together, and it's giving me slavery vibes. All the people that are packaging this hair and stuff are people of color, and this hair is supposed to be sent back out to the masses, going to show you that this problem is not over. These little hair weave monsters, hair eating beings are being sent out throughout the country, and it's not going to end. The cycle's not going to end. It didn't end with her, what she did at her office, because it was taken down, I believe, with a lot of the ladies in the office. Like, it's bigger than this office because the packages are still being produced, the hair is still being produced and sent out, so it's an issue. So it's a cycle that's not just gonna go away, and I feel like it was kind of giving us a lesson there as well. I think I did say, I don't know if I said it, but Body Snatchers is one of my favorite movies. It reminds me of Body Snatchers because each person that the hair attached to, it kind of assimilated them and changed them into whatever to feed. Like, the hair's only main purpose is to feed. While you get success and all these other things, it's a price. The beauty comes with the price. So if you get that hair, you're gonna become something else, like you would on Body Snatchers. So I think it was a great movie. I love the 80s look and vibe to it. Um, 80s, 90s, MTV, VJs, VH1 takes me back to those times. Yes, I'm an old head. Again, Vanessa Williams is in there. Jay Farrow from SNL. He does a lot of different voices. He's the guy that sleeps his way to the top. James Vanderbeek plays her boss, the guy from Dawson's Creek. Hopefully, he is all better when it comes to his cancer battle. At the time I'm recording, I know he's going through a cancer battle. Lena Waithe was very funny in this. She was wearing the dookie braids. If you guys remember the dookie braids, I think back in the 90s. But she was changing her hair up all the time. And she was a really good comic relief to the movie, which was already kind of giving me funny vibes anyway. Blair Underwood played her uncle. There's a few other characters that are known there as well, but there were appearances by Kelly Rowland, and she was like the main video girl as far as her video was like the number one video. She was giving me Janet Jackson, so the main character was a big fan of her. I felt like she was playing Janet Jackson or something like that back in the day, someone that would be of that caliber. Usher was there, he dropped in. Nicole Byers, the comedian, she was her neighbor, which had a little comic relief there. And MC Light dropped in. And the young lady's name is Elle Lorraine, who played the main part in this movie, Bad Hair. So they were giving me so much nostalgia. People from the 90s, the 80s and 90s era. It was a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend watching it. I would definitely even watch it again. I don't know when, but this would be like a great girls sleepover or some type of fun thing with the ladies, just to have fun and dish and talk about bad hair stories and just have a good time. I would definitely recommend watching this again and again. So thoughts, comments, questions. This is Irene doing a new segment called The Secret Tapes. Would love your feedback. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. All the best and God bless. Talk to you next time.